All right, everybody. Thanks for taking the time to come and be here for this meeting. We
It's
don't,
1 in the morning.
You're
we
welcome.
shut up. We don't normally do guild meetings here, gentlemen, but for Albion, we had some last
User
minute
joined your channel.
organization we wanted to make happen. Please refrain from doing
User
that
was moved to
again.
your channel.
God. Anyways,
Alright.
so just want to cover a
Priority
couple things.
speaker.
Yeah, I'll put it on. So I just wanted to cover a couple things. There's gonna be some common sense stuff at the beginning. So a lot of people here have never played with gentlemen before. A lot of people here are core gentlemen. So the things we just want to keep in mind is we don't promote hacking, we don't promote exploiting. We don't want you word bombing streamers because we're gonna have a lot of streamers in the guild this time. So bad being one of them, and I think I'll probably end up streaming at some point. Outside of those three things, we really aren't going to police anything specific. So just keep your being a dick to people to whatever level you feel comfortable doing it.
Oh, good. Thought you were gonna say don't do it.
I mean, RP. You can RP to steal people's banks. I don't care. It's an open world game. You got to deal with your own consequences. Like that's how games like Darkfall work. That's how this game
And
works.
is the same for Darkfall, or
What do you say?
can we do the same on Darkfall?
Darkfall's a little different, so that's got different rules. Anyways, moving along because I'm gonna try and keep this really quick. If you guys want to poke me with any questions you have over the course of me talking about stuff, I'll address all the questions at the end. But feel free to poke me with them so that.
Hey, wake up.
Yeah, thank you, Ravenous. Thank you.
Wake up.
Hey,
wake
Oh
up.
my God! Don't abuse it though. Fuck. If you have questions, go ahead and poke it. I'll answer it
wake up.
as we get to the end. Is there a way to turn that sound off so it doesn't tell me? All right.
Yeah,
right?
Go to your notifications and turn
Hey,
off
wake
all
up.
notification sounds. I have all that shit turned off.
I'm gonna have to fix that.
Fuzzy,
real
let's go
quick.
top.
I'm good. Okay. So there's gonna be a breakup of like 3 days. The first
User
3 days are
joined
the
your
most
channel.
important. Day one's gonna be like a speed run because the only real objective we have on that day is we need to get our town plot. And we need to get the farm outside the town plot because you don't want to end up in a situation where we get the town plot and another guild gets the farm plot outside, and then we have 3 GVGs
User
we have to
joined your
win
channel.
immediately, right off the bat before anyone gets on their feet. Day 2, we'll have people build the guild island up to at least T4 in Carleon, so that people will be able to build T4 gear before they even come out to the Black Zone territories. And then day 3 will just be catch up in infrastructure, which I'll explain infrastructure here in a few minutes. Day 1, the main goal, the order of goals here is the first goal we need to get the clan made, and that's 12,500 silver. Once we grab all that together with the day 1 guys, we'll get the guild made. We'll probably ramp the taxes up. I'll cover what we'll put the taxes up for a normal time. And then we're going to have to farm up 1.5 million silver, 1 million total guild fame. And that's just to get the farm and the town plot. We'll start in Highland Cross, and after we get to T4 or get through T3 and get to T4, we'll move up to Matic, and from Matic we'll move to Caerleon. Once we get done running T4 dungeons and everybody's ready to wear T4 gear, we'll move to Caerleon. We'll probably end up having to use people's T4 structures there, or we may have to revamp the plan right there to stop and build T4 stuff on the Guild Island. I prefer not to have to, so I'm hoping that they build stuff up there as just people owning the city. But once we get T4, once people start hitting T4 and we're able to move out of Caerleon to T5 blue dungeons in the red zones and in the black zones, that's going to be where we really hit that goal of getting the fame up, because it's almost like I think a 200% increase in fame in the red and black zones. It's probably more than 200, but it's double the fame pretty much, and that's on top of your premium bonuses. The dungeon crawls just need to be people breaking into 3 to 5 man groups, hitting T4 dungeons until everybody's T4. After everyone hits T4, we want to move up to the red dungeons. In the T5 dungeons in the red zones, you need at least 1 to 2 healers for those, but you still want to be in the like 4 to 7 range on how many people you'll have there. Basically, if you're just going to be a crafter on day 1, you're going to have to kind of branch out and make things you're not planning to make later in the game or later on in the game, because we got to keep the guys out in the dungeons and the farming. We got to keep them geared up, and sorry, we got to focus on keeping them geared. The less time that they spend at the bank, the faster we're going to hit our goal, and the less we're going to have to worry about someone taking one of the better plots that we want to have. The crafters are going to benefit the guild a lot with a lot of fame coming in. So they're not necessarily going to be pulling in the silver like the dungeon crawlers will, but they're going to pull in a lot of fame from refining, from crafting, things like that. So they are going to help out even though they're not out there in the dungeons. Let's see. So earlier I mentioned infrastructure for day 3. The infrastructure really includes recruiting new members and making sure they're all in TeamSpeak. Spreadsheet.
Whoa. You mean Discord?
No, we're going to be using TeamSpeak.
Oh my.
Then yours a
Surprise!
Why would we separate our communities? We have
Look,
to- I mean, we're not just an Albion guild.
Hey, guys, let's continue along. If you have questions, poke me with them. Some people here want to go to sleep. Anyways.
What's that?
Anyway, so God damn it, you guys are derailing me. So infrastructure is recruiting, and then the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet, I don't plan to keep it updated past the first few days myself personally, because with an open recruitment policy and anything with 2 legs and 2 arms, we really can't keep updating the spreadsheet. Like the last beta we played, where we played it all the way through, I updated the spreadsheet for the first 3 weeks of launch, or of the beta start. And I can tell you that I played a minimum of maybe 2 actual hours of the game and invested 4 hours a night on just doing the spreadsheet to keep everything up. It's a pain in the ass. Taxes, we're gonna keep the taxes at 80% until we have the town plot and the farm plot. 20% that we're not keeping is gonna be so you can repair your gear and shit. So you're not having to say, hey, I need a loan of this so I can get my shit fixed. After we have the town plot and the farm plot, we're going to go down to 25% at all times, with the exception of every now and then we'll do like a power hour where like 7 people go out to a dungeon to raise guild funds, and we ramp it up to 100% during that hour.
Wait,
like I said,
so on that, that's how much
hang on.
of the loot is taken, right? Out of everyone's
Okay,
shares.
so taxes, the way taxes work is when it's at 25%, it's going to take a quarter of the silver you would get from that mob when you pick up that silver and go straight into the guild coffer. So it's like an auto donation.
It's really good if you keep it like a reasonable amount. When everybody's farming throughout the day, it'll go into there. But when you put it up to 100% and you all do a big dungeon together, it's like a really good way to just get some quick funds.
We literally, you could raise like $1 million in 2 hours at a Black Zone T5 dungeon with 100% taxes. We did it multiple times in that beta.
I mean, you're also going to be... Go ahead.
Is that basically an exploit so that you can keep your loot safe from PvP?
It's
I mean,
no,
because
you don't lose your
gold,
gold.
silver doesn't drop.
Oh.
A little bit of silver drops, but that's dependent on how much like good gear you're carrying.
Your worth, yeah.
Sam, someone's here.
Anyways, so goals is the guild that we're going to kind of look forward past launch. We're going to be doing daily dungeons, non-stop hell gates, weekly castles. We're going to maintain a full presence in our area once we have our town plot. The daily dungeons are going to basically be there to build up our skills and characters. Non-stop hell gates are GVG practices. And weekly castles are probably the funnest thing I've ever seen. If you haven't played Albion, they're the closest thing you'll come to a siege from Darkfall. Moving along, there's a bunch of stuff when we played that full beta that we learned. For one, we were constantly like starving on T2 and T3 materials. We learned in that beta that we were supposed to put laborers up and put a guild hall up, and we kind of just put chests in our guild hall instead of putting laborers up. So in that first week, after we have the plot, we're gonna put a guild hall down in one of the areas on the plot, which gets to the next part with the placement of structures. We're gonna have to kind of carefully do it because this is actual launch, and I don't want to sit here and have to rebuild half the fucking town because I accidentally placed something in the wrong spot. But basically what the laborers do is you go out with a book in your inventory that you get from the laborer, and you harvest materials that are of the appropriate tier, and you bring it back to them. And what they do is they bring you the refined material back the next day of that material that you harvested. So it's a great way to get T2, T3 resources in pretty quickly without having to go and do caravan runs.
The imbuers are pretty overpowered when we played last time.
Yeah.
Those ones are the same except they give you like the plus materials.
So, like, for the people that haven't played Albion like crack last time, like the one problem that we had was like when we get killed off and have to go back out of the black zone, we always have to start at like T1 and 2. Are we like branching? Like, is our guild's island going to be able to get T1 and 2 easy from?
So how Caerleon works is Caerleon is in the center of the Royal Islands, and it has a portal to each of the Black Zone continents. So the only catch is your portal goes on cooldown for 2 hours, so you can only go to that Black Zone continent for that 2-hour period, and then at the end of the 2 hour you can switch what continent you want to go to, or put yourself back on that same cooldown. Caerleon will eventually build the Guild Island up entirely there, just in case we ever lose our city. But for the early point, it needs to be a place where people can build their T4 gear safely, and that's what we're gonna work on day 3-ish, the day 2, day 3 area where I was saying we were gonna build up the Guild Island. The actual city will be the one that we build all the way up to T8, so that we can harvest everything, or we can refine everything, we can craft everything we need there. A big problem we were having in that you were describing, Harry, is because we didn't have an influx of the T2 materials, so people felt like they had to go back. The laborers are going to solve that problem because we're going to have access to T2 and T3 that's already refined, and it's going to be able to get more stuff influxed in, so you won't have to make those trips back.
Yeah, because that was a pain last time.
A lot
the
of
walking simulator.
Yeah, that was a pain. Another thing is, and I haven't found my mount guy yet, but there's going to be a guy who's going to start on mounts pretty much day 1, and I'm hoping it's going to be someone like Jonathan, who's like a crafter, who's not going to be doing a whole lot of like the dungeon stuff early on, but basically we should have mounts within the first couple days. I believe it takes, for the T3 mounts, if I remember right, they're like 3 days to craft or to grow, but you have to do all the chicken stuff. It's just a nightmare to start off the top of your head. Okay, Pearl's just poked me. He's going to be doing mounts right away, so we do have our mount guy. Another thing that we learned from that beta, we kind of stagnated on recruitment because people kind of got complacent with going and doing stuff, and when we recruited new players in, we would try to give them like, hey, do this, and do this, but then they would come to the guild plot, and nobody would want to include them because they wouldn't have required stuff or the knowledge to go and do the dungeons effectively. Like people would want to take like one-handed swords or something to go do the skeleton dungeon we were doing for main fame. What we learned later in the beta is you're not going to be able to stay alive as a guild if you don't include everybody, and if you don't get these guys trained up, they're never going to be able to help you out. You almost have to invest in each person. So that's going to be something we focus on heavily, is investing in our players that we bring in. And as long as they are willing to come into TeamSpeak and hang out and be part of the guild, we're more than willing to put forward and invest in them as a guild. Moving along, another thing that we had a problem with was people standing around. This is the thing that happens in Darkfall even. People just standing around in town. When we have Hellgates up and the plots around us are in our plot, we should always have a team doing Hellgates. Maybe two. Realistically, we should have multiple teams doing Hellgates at all times. There should only be crafters sitting around in town and gatherers sitting around town. People just AFK if they're actually doing AFK stuff. Because if you sit around town, you're not really benefiting yourself in learning to play the game. Hellgates, they give you GVG practices, so when you want to go do a GVG, you don't have to be like, well, I think I know how to do this. You'll know how to PvP and do the guild versus guild material. Another thing, the last thing that we learned from that beta was having alts. Basically, GVG time zone locking is a thing. If you fight in one tile, and we get sieged at 3 tiles over, you can get stuck out of the fight if you don't have an alt. So what we recommend doing on day 1 is, if you have enough gold to do it, make your main character, put your main premium time on them, then make 2 alts. You can name them whatever you feel like naming them, but then make premium on them so that they accumulate learning points. That's going to let you either get a gatherer dedicated on your character or your account, or you're going to be able to level up your account quickly if you decide you need another GVG character. Because realistically, you can get to T5 in a day if you have like 200 learning points, and you only have like 3 or 4 hours to do it in. You can do it in a day with like 200 learning points. Getting to T6, that might take up to a week, but T5 is definitely doable in a day. So what plots are we going to aim for? There's about 5 to 7 of us that are pretty much guaranteed to be at every GVG no matter what's going on, because we are always on during these time zones. We're going to try and get a town plot in 1 to 7 UTC. If you don't play heavily during 1 to 7 UTC, that doesn't mean that you're never going to get to GVG, because there are work camps, and there's always the opportunity to siege other people's outposts, and where you can push in and try and take another city and have multiple cities. I think there was a brief period of time when, in that beta, we owned 2 cities, and they were in 2 separate time zones. The low outlands are going to have a lot of bang, as the higher outlands are going to go pretty quickly by the clans like Red Army and I don't know if EOS is still around, but EOS and Envy and all those.
T7 city.
Yeah, those things are going to go real quick because, they have like 200 dedicated gatherers and like 200 dedicated PvPers and stuff that have been playing for about 5 betas, so they've got everything ironed out, where we're kind of a smaller guild, and we're just going to have to kind of settle for what we can get at the beginning. I marked a handful of these tiles out. If we can get, I can't remember the name of it. There was one in the Mercia Islands, but Mercia we're probably not going to get. If you're recording
this, are you going to like write out a quick
I've got a spreadsheet, honestly. Not a spreadsheet,
you got a quick day 1 guide?
Yeah,
Script.
Just for starting points,
I've got a PowerPoint I'm reading everything off of.
Yeah, okay. I know that, yeah.
So the possible tiles that I want to aim for, long barrel, I can't speak. Long barrel well, teeming mound, feshioned mound, wind whisper well, zephyr well, dune regulus, and hair grove. And I'll put these names all on the channel here, so that tomorrow when we're all on trying to rush for these things, we know which ones to go for. But the main goal is to have somewhere between 1 and 7 UTC, so that we can guarantee that if we ever get back down to 1 city and a farm, that we always have a dedicated GVG team that can attend, so people aren't stressing out that they can't make the GVG and winding up in a bad position, because it really is a lot of bad morale if you get back to just your town plot. A lot of people are new. Some of you guys may still not know what you want to do as new players. If you still don't know right now what you plan to go in Albion, just pick up something that you can help out with on day 1. And
just saying that healing is actually a really overpowered class for solo shit. Being a holy priest, you can basically solo any mob in the game.
You really, you just want to do something that will benefit the guild for the first few days as part of the race. After that, you're really not going to do anything to your character that's irreparable unless you spam all of your learning points out that you accumulate in the first few days.
On masteries and shit.
Yeah. So the main things you want to look at are things like fire staff, frost staff, longbow, dual swords, or holy heals. And this is just for farming the first few days. I'm not telling you to stick with this for your
that'd
entire.
Be sweet. Yeah.
All of these things are really good for farming.
We just want AoE the first few days. Basically.
Yep. We just want AoE, and then these things will also benefit you if you want to do zone versus zone, and you don't have like a super special one. Like if you go something melee that's going to be mainly for GVGs or for solo roaming, you'll have this for zone versus zone, or Zerg versus Zerg is what it's really called. And that's like castles and things like that. A lot of you might be kind of baited in as new players for sitting there and looking at the Destiny board. It's massive, and it's kind of confusing at first hand when you look at it. But just pick up stuff and go on the first day or 2. Day 3, you're not really kind of pressed because the town plots are going to be acquired by then. But for the first day or 2, you do not want to stand around just sitting around. I don't know if you guys have ever played Path of Exile, but it's kind of like doing speedrun of Path of Exile. You just want to get it done. The plan of where we're all going to meet is Highlands Cross. You can use a boat to get there. Basically, when you come off that basically when you load in, you're going to load on that tutorial island. Once you do that little tutorial island, you move on to the cross area, and you're going to go to one of these random locations. But you can always take the boat that's kind of like right by the bridge you come in on, and it will take you to all the other starter areas. And the one you're going to look for is
early.
The first thing you want to do is go to Highlands Cross, so that you're linked up with the guild.
Do before you start putting shit in your bank and
exactly
stuff.
You're gonna want to let everybody know that multiple times, Toxic, because
yeah, that's gonna be like the
first
thing.
And go there before you you unload your new shit, like your starting stuff, because it'll cost you silver to train. Well,
so
you can, but it'll cost you.
No, well, yeah.
They charge you
for your inventory and stuff what you're wearing. You gotta transport naked, so don't redeem your legendary packs or whatever it is. Don't redeem that yet. Transfer over to the new area before you do that. This way you don't have to pay silver to move it with you.
Okay.
Feels bad. I won't be in until Wednesday.
I've got one last thing I want to cover, and that's still part of the new player experience. Is do the tasks and the quests at the start. Everybody now gets a little donkey mount, so it'll help you out when you're in this little safe area to get around quickly once you do the little starter quest. And it honestly takes like 30 minutes. I think I did it last night on the test server in like 30 minutes.
Wait, what? Everybody gets a donkey now? Yep. Or is that just legendary?
No, everybody gets a donkey now as part of the quest line. It's not as fast as a normal horse, but it's faster than running around on foot.
On the test server, do you get legendary stuff if you're legendary?
You can yes. do it, yes. Okay, I've already covered the Destiny board. If you have questions, feel free to ask. But day 1 and 2 is not the time to be asking the question about the Destiny board, because we just need to pump faster and faster through. In town, crafters and gatherers will be spending all of their time in the town making the gear and gathering the resources. I want the crafters to also be recruiting while they're in town, even if you're just right-clicking on clanless people and recruiting. It helps out because eventually we're going to try and get these guys all on TeamSpeak and get them all on board. But the point is to scoop up as many people as possible when you're trying to fatten out like that.
The link that I threw in is the all the items and their skills. So like the plate, leather, and the cloth skills, and for helmet, chest, and boots, and then the weapon skills.
Okay, so I just put the spreadsheet in. If you look at that spreadsheet, the only real page that matters right now is the attendance page. I'm trying to just make it be a catch-all page for everything. If you were at this meeting right now and your part on that spreadsheet is not filled out, please send me the information here in TeamSpeak so that I can get that filled out for you. It's very important. If you don't know what you're doing yet, just pick one of those for like combat. If you're doing fame runs and not doing crafting and gathering on day 1 and 2, just pick one of the weapons I mentioned earlier, like the dual swords, the fire, the frost, the holy, the longbow. That way we have a good idea as to what's going on, and please update what day you are. That way I can get all of this updated as quickly as possible.
I'll be the ore smelter.
I'm probably going to be on a fire staff stock.
Oh, send it to me in chat here.
Yep.
So I'm going to go back through here, see if I had any questions.
Yeah, can I focus on ore?
Yeah, that's fine.
User disconnected from your channel.
Did they switch it up? So, like, remember we used to run, like, we'd run, like, a heavy pair of boots and, like, light friggin' hood, and, like, we'd mix it up because of the skills that were on it. Did they change any of the skills?
They changed a lot of the skills around. You're going to have to look through just to see what skills are on there. Fuzzy asks, are we going to have a Guild Island and a city plot? Yes, we are. We're going to have both. The Guild Island will kind of get stunted at T4, T5 for a little while we get the city plot built up. But eventually we want the Guild Island in case we get pushed off the city plot ever. Just so you know, I don't anticipate losing the city plot once we get it, because in the beta we fought all the top tier guilds, like Red Army, we fought EOS, we fought fucking Honor and Glory, we fought Unsullied, constantly back to back. We went through 2 months of sieges constantly. 2 months.
It was
every
literally
night.
every single
And
night.
we did it. We never came close to
we
losing the actual
defended
city.
every single city.
Um,
We have a 100% city.
And not only
defense.
that, but they busted too. Like it's even harder to lose a city now. So yes to that question, Puzzly. We are gonna have both.
I got a quick question.
Toxic, I wanted to ask you about the island thing though. Do you think
Okay.
it's wise to dump resources into an island before we build our city? I mean, it's a massive undertaking.
Yes,
it takes a lot.
because otherwise people are gonna spend gross amounts of silver with other players' things inside the city, and I really don't want to be doing that past day one.
Understood.
Yeah, it's fucking nasty,
And
dude.
it doesn't take
Tax
anything.
rate.
It takes like almost nothing to build up to T4. It really does. Timu.
The only
what was that
limiting
question?
factor is silver.
Okay, so on this spreadsheet that has like all the different armor types, like if you go to boots, for example,
Yep.
it's got that first column that says run, and then it goes and like then all the other columns have the skill for the specific armor piece.
I'll explain what it is. Every pair of boots has a default skill, which is the run skill. Every pair of boots has that. Now you don't have to choose that one. Then every other, you see plate, which is the top tier, leather, and then cloth, and then there's the gatherings one. Those are the those are like if you go down the plate school, you can either you could choose run if you want, or you can choose one of those specialized skills for plate. But as you go farther in, like knight, soldier, and guardian are the crafting tier. Those tier you can basically craft without having to have any rare ingredients. But then the royal ones, you get those from doing a quest, I think. The graveyard, you can only craft that if you get a graveyard item. And the demon one, you can only get that if you get a demon item from the Hellgate. So you can take that into account if you're going to choose that in your build, that you have to get those items to craft those. So the first 3 skills are really what you want to focus on for building your build.
Quick follow-up question to that. Let's say that I wanted to use run as that. I wanted to use that skill. Like, would it matter? Is there a difference between soldier, knight, and guardian at that point? Like, is there an armor difference? Is there?
There is. So you can use the plate boots, the same thing as soldier, with that run skill. They have that default run skill.
Yeah.
But they also have wanderlust, which is every second your movement speed increases by 10. So it's completely different. That basically
gives you a passive?
It gives you no. It's you use it and then basically it takes 8 seconds to get 80% speed, but it lasts for 16 seconds. But the run increases your move speed all at once for 60% for 7 seconds. So it's half the time, but it gives you more speed in the long run. And also they have different cooldowns.
So alright, this
Run's half the
question. I noticed run. So does run gonna be on the boots regardless?
No.
And
so
then I can choose run. Or I can choose one of these other ones.
Change
okay, that's
out.
cool. So I don't get 2.
Yeah, you don't get 2.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I get
it's like a default skill if you don't want other ones.
The part of my question that didn't go answered then. So let's say I decided to go plate boots, and I'm gonna use I want to use run. Is there a difference between soldier, knight, and guardian if I'm using run?
No.
Do they have a different armor? Are they're exactly the same?
Soldier, knight, and guardian, they have those boots are different types of boots. They have slight stat differences, but affecting the skill that you put on it doesn't affect it at all unless it gives you something in the skill itself.
I didn't even know there was like stats in this game.
Yeah,
I haven't seen anything about stats.
You just can't read them here.
I'm guessing they took away the run one that gave you the absorb shield.
They moved it up to a different thing. It's rejuvenating sprint, or no, it's
still shield.
Defensive sprint,
they
which
got
is
rid
a graveyard
of the
boost
shield
now.
or the helmet
they
too.
moved
the
it up to
guardian
graveyard.
User disconnected from
that
your
sucks.
channel.
Okay. Yeah, because literally everybody ran that shit.
So there's an armor stats page. That's what basically you see the difference between the stats on different.
Okay, back to the questions here that we had. Fuzzy says so this is a statement. We should have the guy on new player duties. Normally I like to have someone on that, but I don't have any volunteers just yet to specifically deal with that. And honestly, my main concern is getting us through days 1 through 3. If you know someone who wants to do it, it'd be great. I don't have Set Tour. I usually have Set Tour, Arcbane, and then Candace, and they do a fantastic job with new players, but they won't be playing Albion because they don't like it. Let's see. Timu, if I'm new, how the hell do I know what to craft/gather? It's a pretty good statement there, as well as be part of being a question. As a new player, you really there's only 3 to 4 things that you really are gonna be able to gather in the game. Crafting, there's tons of stuff, but if all else fails, I always recommend being able to craft your weapon, so that you never have to worry about having to find someone who will do your weapon. So if you're going carrying collars, do axes. Craft up axes and eventually craft your own carrying collars so you can get mastery on it. Because mastery does affect the power, the power level stat of the item. So it'll do more damage, or it'll just make you a lot tankier.
The more you
more
specifically
health.
craft,
but I do
want to
mention not
the better you get at it.
Put that on your main character.
You can do it on your main character, but you're not going to be able to take advantage. You're not going to be able to take advantage of learning points as much if you do it on your main character.
So
exactly, that's what I'm saying.
One of the things people like to do in the beginning is you make your main character, you log in, you claim your premium status, okay, and then you put some of your, then you make a second character, and this one will be basically like your layaway character.
That's exactly. I know.
Gaining premium. No, I'm not talking to you. I'm telling
everybody. No, I was agreeing with you. I know exactly.
Yeah. The second character is just going to be, you get premium on it, but you get it for like a month or something. So
wait, so
you don't want to
have another character. Do you have to buy a new account or?
No. You can make a couple characters on the same account, but the premium is per character basis. So you have to buy. You get free gold in the beginning. You can use to buy like another month or two or something. But what you want to do on a second character, because every day that they're premium, they gain skill points, and then
it's like every 20 minutes you get 1 LP.
So you want to put that character to use by the end of the month, or when he runs out of premium, but along the way you can use them to craft and shit like that, because crafting doesn't really cost too much LP if you're going to be just brute forcing it, but with mats instead of LP. And you'll have a second
you can get up
character
there pretty quick with LP.
Yeah.
I do want to point out to another issue. I don't know if you touched it because I was a couple minutes behind, but like the gold in the very beginning, you're going to be tempted to get that easy push to sell your gold for silver. Really, just don't do it. It starts off really low. The Toxic and Varg have been through it. They didn't really listen to me before, but
What are you talking about, Doofy? You didn't listen to me.
Dude, I made so much fucking shit off of that, man.
I made so much money.
It went up to like 500 in that last.
No, we went through like 2 or 3 betas where I started off and I said, listen, everybody hold on to your gold. Let's take the clan, dump it in there, and it didn't really work out that way.
Your gold is the best decision. Listen, you always want, just keep this rule in mind at all times.
It starts off at 1, it ends up in 5s.
Yeah, keep this rule. Just one thing. This rule that you want is keep your gold or your silver in gold at all times. The price is not going to drop. Just always keep your silver in gold.
Yep.
Overnight it might go up, and then your gold's worth more. You got silver overnight.
At the end of the night, just turn all your silver to gold. Pretty much. For anyone who's like holding out right now for the meeting, I pretty much have covered everything I wanted to cover in the meeting. We're just kind of covering extra stuff that's like side banter. I'm gonna record
We're in the open forum part.
This is the open forum part of the meeting. So if you have to get up early, go ahead and you can cut out. I'm gonna record this whole meeting, and I'll put it on a YouTube link that it'll be in the description of this channel.
I think you and I agreed. I know I was pushing really hard for the gold thing, and I did eventually get my way, and I didn't make a lot out of it for us, but
User left your channel.
I think you were the one who agreed with me on it, because we just brought this up the other night, you remember?
Yep.
I mean, it's off topic, but the gold, like, you're going to be really tempted to dump that for silver. Don't do it.
Like the 15k gold we had sitting in there.
Yeah, that was the 15k gold I dumped in there, and then you dumped it on me. I remember now. You sold when I wasn't ready to sell yet, and a couple days later it went up to
okay,
like 20.
So let me ask. As a noob here, let me ask a question real quick. Okay, so I'm planning on going axes and scythe. So on my main character, I'm like grinding that up, and I already have a rough idea of what type of armor I'm gonna wear based on one of the builds I saw online. So I'm gonna be like, practicing that shit. So the first thing I do, I create that character, log in, get to wherever he needs to be. Or I just create my second character, get premium on him, and the second guy, I just let him sit there, right? I don't even have to log into him.
Yeah, his points will continue. His learning points will basically stack up, and you get a bonus of 300 points. You have to buy at least 30 days, and you get 200 learning points right off the bat with them.
And I just buy that with cash, right?
No, with the gold,
but
or
you can buy it with the gold you have. If you want to save your gold, which is probably the smartest way to do it, but just think about it this way: that $10 or whatever is going to be worth more in gold.
Yeah, it's cheap as fuck
later on. I don't know.
I don't have a problem buying it.
In the beginning, gold is so cheap that if you buy it and you were just to sell it, turn it into silver, it's not worth it. You're gonna get like 10K, right? But then in a month or so, that's like a mil or 2 mil, So it's really best to be keeping your gold as much as you can.
Okay, so just to clarify, I make two characters, premium on both, and with the second guy, eventually I'm going to be wanting to craft, for me, like focus at least on scythes, which is my main weapon.
Exactly, so and you'll be able to power level them into
axes.
Yeah, so you want to be axes. So what you probably want to do is, if you really want to be efficient, is your second character, you don't want to just leave him. You probably want to move him with your other character as much as you can. And you can do your gathering on your main character. It's like not a big deal, because most of the points you're getting in gathering are like straight down. If you don't want to, like if you really want to save all your LP just for combat skills, then put it into only on your alt. But straight up, if you go down your gathering,
I was thinking about gathering on that main.
You have, for gathering in Albion, you kind of have to be able to fight too.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
It's better to do the actual gathering on your main. Maybe not use LP if you can avoid it. But there's like mobs and shit in the way, so you can't efficiently gather with just some dummy character to run around and hit nodes with.
Well, now that they have gathering armor, it's a lot easier. But that's another thing,
familiar with that yet.
Is when
so it's getting in the mud a little bit for me. But just my last basic question that I think is pivotal for me starting. So when I log in for the first time, I need to get somewhere that you guys are all at, or do I just start wherever they pop me out? Like, I don't know how that all works. I've never even logged in.
Okay, so you're gonna come off. Basically, you're gonna start on a pier and this little tiny island. You're gonna do everything it asks you to do on that little tiny island, and it's gonna have one exit. And you're gonna go out that one exit when you finish there, and that will put you at one of the crosses. If you're at Highland Cross, you're good to go. If you're not at Highland Cross, there's gonna be another little pier with a boat attached. Yeah, it's random where it sticks you. There's gonna be a little boat, and it's going to have a guy on the boat. And you go onto the boat, and you talk to the guy, and he's going to ask you where you want to go. And Highland Cross will be an option for you.
Okay, so Highland Cross is where everybody else is going to be.
Correct.
That I need to. Okay.
That's where you need to be.
What would you guys consider, like, good or bad for a crossbow and a shield?
It's a good build. It really depends on the so with the one-handed crossbow, the one that you take a shield with, had a really strong ability that they kind of underlooked for a long time, and people were using it as the main spec in a GVG team. Then also the large crossbow has a really good skill on it too, so it's pretty good.
Alright.
It's definitely not the best thing to solo farm with though, because it's single target. So you need people with you.
Chances are you'll be with one of us when we're farming anyways.
Yep.
Alright.
We'll be running shit tons of groups, day 1, day 2, etc. just to be getting our stuff up. Give them the clamps.
Give them the clamps.
How does that aspect work in this game as far as grouping? Is it a thing where is it I know GVGs are 5 people. Or are dungeons or Hellgates or whatever it is a similar thing? Is there a max number?
Hellgates are 5s. Everything else I think is 15 Varg or 20? Is the max.
Probably 20, yeah.
And there's those huge raids too that are super hard to do.
You can do those big. You can do the big dungeons with small groups of people. They're just. It's really dependent on a method of using to
get your specs.
Kill shit. Yeah.
I mean, higher lethal dungeons. It's probably better to bring a little more people than you're really wanting to, just in case, because of the lethal aspect of it. But you guys are geared out, right?
With PvP too, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All the dungeons are open, so anybody can come in while you're farming.
So Bladra, it's the first Are you there, Bladra?
Yeah.
The first hour, it's pretty much gonna be impossible to sell gold. So what we want?
Order up.
I know, but what I'm saying is, okay, let's just if 12 of us or so farm like if like 20 of us are starting day one, I don't know. If we all farm 500 silver, we'll have enough to like make the.
Yeah, that needs
which
to be
is nothing.
The first thing we do.
So like everybody needs to farm like at least 1,000 silver, which is super simple. Mobs drop like 100 of
and what you
kill.
do is you have a predetermined location that once you have 500 silver, you go back to town, you stay in that location until people get there, and everybody hands it all into you.
Everyone can deposit straight into the clan bank.
You can't do that if you don't have a clan.
That's what we did last beta. We gave all the senior, right?
Yeah, but
Varg's gonna be the on the create the clan part.
You guys want to see
the new logo?
Do we actually have a logo this time?
No, we don't have a logo, but we haven't. This is what we're gonna go with.
It's a squid.
Oh, I like the squid. Let's do the squid.
It's squid with period
on its
blood.
period.
I like the G is slick. I like the G.
It was Unsullied's custom logo.
The G.
I don't care. It was
slick. No, it's not. It's not their custom logo.
It's not?
They stole it. No, this is just a squid.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
I don't feel like a scumbag.
So the thing about the G is the G was it was Gentleman's custom logo.
Hat now, right?
And to be honest with you, I thought it was kind of shit. I actually never liked it.
Hail Hydra.
Yeah,
Hydra.
Hail Hydra.
Yo, quick question, super important. Can you buy HBO Go without having HBO?
Yes.
No, but yes.
HBO now.
You get a
have
free
HBO
day.
now.
But if you have Hulu,
30-day trial.
if you have Hulu, Game of Thrones season 7's on Hulu.
Wait, what? It's out now?
Just happened today.
Oh my god.
What is it?
I had
On
like
Hulu.
such a busy day.
Just the first episode.
Watched it and then I had to get immediately ready for the siege.
I have to go watch it after we get done here. Anyways, so does anybody have any other questions for the meeting?
Yeah, good gentlemen. Woo.
Anybody have a link? If you have a link to like where I can look at builds while we're.
I have a question.
I mean, no background.
Tom, hold on.
Are there ranks in the Albion?
There is.
Like, are there guild leaders and
Yes, there's right hand, there's Master of Coin, and there's War
Officer.
General,
War Master.
Dibs
and
on
Officer.
Master of
Okay,
Coin,
so-
dude. Little
So
finger.
how it works is they all actually serve a purpose. Like the Master of Coin is basically like a general rank that can't start wars, but they can handle the money. Then the War Master can't really handle too much of the money, but they can start wars. You know what I mean? So there's right hand that can do both, and then below that there's like lieutenant ranks and shit like that, captain.
Alright. So can multiple people be right hand?
Yeah, and only one person be guild master. There's no like SG for everybody.
Right.
The year.
Do you move for
Joined your
president?
channel.
The guild prospered
And you can ally
under
people.
Vargson.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can start.
Yes,
You
we
can,
can have
so basically you
alliances. I don't
start
think
an
we have one picked
alliance,
out,
and it gives you a tag. So you can actually have a. We were shocked.
The Ariana Grande fan club.
Ariana Grande.
We'll
fan.
probably
Oh my god.
We'll probably be the Gentle Nation
That's,
this time
we're not being
because
that.
that name
don't
is
worry.
awesome.
Gentle Nation.
The name is
Yeah, it's
awesome.
so bad.
Even if Sobad's gonna be in our guild this time, I still like the name Gentle Nation because it's a pretty
Yeah.
baller guild name.
I mean,
alliance name.
He's
That's
not
what I'm
gonna.
talking about, dude.
He's not gonna start Midnight Nation in Albion, or
No,
Nah, dude. No, I didn't really talk to my guild about it, and since I'm only playing the first 2 days, I'm gonna miss like 3 or 4 weeks. We'd be so fucking far behind, dude.
yeah, okay.
Unless someone ran the Midnight Nation for you.
Nah,
Who's fucking
dude.
Kane,
Like who, man?
boys? Who's fucking Kane?
Ducks.
Oh
Only
shit.
two of us Dutch didn't even playing.
Let's go.
No, I like Gentle Naish, dude. 3 words. The Gentle Naish. Let me be Master of War, dude. I'll siege everybody. We'll have GVGs fucking every hour, every day.
And
Oh god.
so the new people, the time zone, the 1 to 7 time zone is like around the 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. Central Standard Time. But don't worry, that doesn't mean you're never going to get to GVG because like there's a cancerous time zone for you. There are things called war camps in the world, and we can pretty much just pop up wherever we want to, where there's a war camp. And there's a war camp pretty much by every time zone. So you'll get a chance at GVGs in pretty much any time zone you want.
Hellgates are also really, really good too.
They also redid Hellgates and they redid Castles. Castles are no longer just a Sunday thing. Now they pop up around 2 hours around the GVG time of the area around them. So we'll be able to do a lot more castles because we're not like, oh, well, all the castles pop at once, so we have to go to this one.